Great evening, everyone. Hope all of you are doing well and fighting the current challenging times with all your might. It is rightly said that the greatest wealth is health, and the best investment you can ever make is your own health. We are here today to talk about manifesting good health with our special guest, Preeti Pathak, a renowned author and an emotional transformation coach. Hi, Preeti. Thank you for taking time out from your busy schedule and joining us. Please tell us about your journey as an author.
Hi, Megha. Thank you very much for having me on board. And it truly is an opportunity to share my journey, my experiences with you and with Sashakt Foundation, the noble cause that you're doing. Thank you very much for having me over. To answer your question, how did my journey begin and how did I land up becoming an author? It's a very simple formula, I would say. Yeah, like I was doing a 9 to 9 rather, corporate job, and then I decided to take a sabbatical in my career for, giving my 100% to my family, my husband, my child, my family, everything. And so I decided that eventually, in course of time, whenever am free from my major initial responsibilities, will I start something of my own. What it was is something I really didn't know at that point in time. But somewhere in the year 2013, I started my journey of self-realization, and that's when the tectonic shift started happening in my life. I would say I stumbled upon my passion of writing. It was always there, but somewhere in a marketing corporate job, I had just shelved it aside, and I picked up my pen and I began to write. So, self realization as a journey did not only bring me close to myself, it did not make me look into the deeper aspects of life, but it also got me close to my passion. And that's when I started writing. And writing was also in the nonfiction genre with an objective, with a purpose to reach out to millions of people through my work. That how beautiful life can be if we live it in the right manner, how wonderful life can be if we just bring that alignment in our state of mind. And that's when my first book was published in 2017, 25 Essentials to Happy Living. 2019, the second book in this trilogy of mindfulness of emotion called Enrich Life. And finally, now on 14th May, we released Ignite Your Inner Power, The Art of Mindful Living. So this has been my journey, but the journey has been very fulfilling.
That's so beautiful. Congratulations for your new book. Please tell us something about it.
Uh, so, like I said, when I started my journey on self realization, the basic, simple, fundamental that I learned was that we all, human beings, we all tend to do that. You, me, everybody, is that we hold situation, we hold people, we hold experiences responsible for whatever we go through in life. But the truth of fact is that everything is within us. You know, a smallest of problem originates from our mind and our actions, then our communications, and the raita phailta hai. You know, in the literal sense, whether it is good or it is bad, but then the raita phailta hai. So the idea was to bring that reformation in our own self, to turn the torchlight within ourselves, because we ourselves are responsible for physical, mental, emotional, any kind of problems or health issues that we face. So ignite your inner power. This is the book. I received my copy yesterday, and I'm so happy to share it here on the platform. Ignite Your Inner Power basically is built on a mindfulness model that I developed. It's called Preeti's 4A mindfulness model, and it talks about 4A's: awareness, accept, action plan, and aware, and ameliorate. Sorry, 4A's: be aware, accept, act, and ameliorate. So a simple example would be we all are attached to something or the other in some way or the other. Be it a dress, be it some food that we like to eat, be it our child, be it husband, be it in relation with anybody. Now that attachment leads to a domino effect of becoming possessive nature, holding the person tight to yourself, wanting to control the behavior or decisions of that person, wanting the way the person should behave and act. And that further leads into fear, insecurity, criticism. And this is a downward falling trail of emotions. Now, these downward falling trail of emotions are so emphasized in our mind's eye that we completely forget to look at the positive aspects of our life. Or I would say the good aspects of a relation of ourselves, our nature. So, what in this book I have clearly emphasized on is be aware of this quality that if you are possessive about someone, become aware and know that what you should be doing. So it is an exercise you ask yourself, okay, I love this person, I'm attached to this person. So what must I do so that the relation remains healthy? So that is from awareness comes an acceptance. So till the time you're not aware, I'm not possessive about my husband, I'm not very attached to my child, I'm giving them their space. पर वो बट आ जाता है बीच में. So that but is a state of denial. You are not accepting to yourself what you actually are doing, a damage to yourself and that person. So when you accept नहीं मेरा थोड़ा possessive nature है, मैं थोड़ी controlling types की हूँ, so what must I do? That stage is a shift from being aware to accepting your quality, your nature, how it is. And then from that acceptance, when you come to know, okay, what must I do to keep the wire connected with my child who is growing up, for example, who has passed from teenage to an adulthood. So it is essential to maintain that healthy relation. So, what steps must I do is an action plan that how will I maintain this relation? And once you implement those steps, simple steps in life, will you enrich your relation with your child, with your husband, with whatever that you're getting over attached? So this is the simple crux of the book Ignite Your Inner Power, and it has applied this logic, explained this logic across all the emotions that we experience, the attitudes that we build, and our behavior with others. So there are case studies shared by professionals from all walks of life. There are mindful practices shared, and it's put in a very simple Q&A format.
And this is so amazing and interesting. I'm looking forward to read this book very, very soon.
Thank you so much.
As you're aware, that Tashak works towards making women aware about ovarian cancer. And I believe awareness, as you just said, is also a part of mindful living.
Right.
How important it is, as per you, for women to prioritize their health and to be aware about diseases like ovarian cancer?
It's extremely important to be put in one sentence. The challenging part is to put it to practice. And that practice comes by conscious mindful exercise. When I say conscious mindful exercise, you will cook food for your child, you will cook food for your family. But if you're home alone, your natural tendency is going to be, chalo, whatever is the leftover, I will eat that.
Right.
That's a very convenient thing. No, it has to be reversed. Because you need to understand it is only when you will love yourself, when you will nurture yourself, when you're compassionate towards yourself, will your family also start doing it. Number one. Number two, the biggest challenge that we women face, be it a person suffering from ovarian cancer or otherwise, is looking for validation and appreciation from other people. That is something I reach out to every woman and I tell, don't do that. You are your own master. If you're not going to approve yourself, if you're not going to be able to stand in front of that mirror and give a pat on your shoulder, how is the other person going to do this? So that would be the simple practice we have to consciously do every day.
This is what happened. If a child even sneeze, we'll rush to the doctor to find out what happened. But for months, we women keep on ignoring and home treating symptoms, and that is what lead to the late diagnosis, specifically in case of ovarian cancer. It is very important to prioritize our own health and act on it.
Absolutely. So rather than waiting for the husband or a mother-in-law, the mother to take you to the doctor to do the diagnosis also, I mean, it would be how healthy it would be if three friends get together and say, okay, this is going to be our monthly time to go do a health checkup. This is going to be a time where we need to just connect with ourselves and do a medical checkup. Why do we always have to be dependent? Well, they have to be there, they should be there, but this is the first step towards becoming independent too. And then
Being proactive is very, very important. Being proactive as soon as we see any symptom that is different from the routine, like our routine, if we are facing any bloating, any stomach ache, it is very important that for even for the smallest of symptoms, we should reach out for help.
absolutely, absolutely. Like I said, proactive, yes, most important. Second, you have to take proactive or take the initiative of even telling. So it's something like, okay, you're sensing bloating, you're feeling some kind of nausea, you're feeling some kind of giddiness or weakness or swelling in your hands, legs, whatsoever. Bring it to the awareness of the family members. That, okay, don't wait for them to take in doctor's appointment, but you yourself take the initiative. I've taken an appointment, please come along with me and let's go visit the doctor.
Exactly.
That's the approach where it should come from, I would say. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, very true. That is what is important. Like that is the only reason that it is diagnosed at either stage 3 or stage 4 in 80% of the cases, because most of the time, like for the small system, we keep on home treating it, and then by the time we reach to the doctor, it's already late. So it's important to take action at the right time.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also with this, a lot goes into mental health and fitness. How much mentally stable and calm you are. So it is important from the early age. I mean, I wouldn't say just for ovarian cancer that the red flag comes up at stage 3 or stage 4, but to not to let it come even at stage 1. It would be essential for every woman to connect with their body, mind, soul. Now we all know yoga is so largely spoken about these days. That yes, connect your body with the practice of yoga, with the practice of pranayama, but it just doesn't lead to a physical activity or movement, I would say. But it is actually allowing you to bring that alignment in your mind and body together. So what's happening is you're connecting with every organ. So in yoga, while we are doing just a Jangasana, okay, we are lying down, okay, but the best approach would be you're connecting with your TVA muscles or the core muscles. You're connecting with the internal organs. And that is where you're sending the healing signal to your internal organs, to your ovaries, to your stomach, to your intestine. And that sends a healthy signal from the brain to the ovaries, to the other glands. And that's where the regeneration, we all know that there is a life cycle of every tissue, of every cells. They start regenerating every 21 days. And
growth. The opposite of it is also true. All the stress cause like you're saying that connecting with the organs can actually heal them, but all the stress cause the reverse effect on our organs, and that is how like that leads to all the most of the diseases that we face.
Right. So if I am to explain in a going 2 steps backward, where did the stress come from? Why did the stress come in the first place? Right. With women, if we are talking per se, there are multiple reasons: family relations, husband relation, child relation, professional relation. Where is the relation with your own self in this? You are having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You are not connecting with yourself. And what happens is a misunderstanding or something your husband tells you, you get upset about it. The best approach would be to have a communication, go to bed after resolving the problem. So if you're going to carry the stress of that agitated emotion, that my husband did not agree to my point, or we had an argument, he does not understand my point of view, you're carrying that stress with you to bed. And that stress keeps on building in your subconscious mind. And that further leads to a resentment. So it's a domino effect. Today you're angry over one small matter. Probably after 5 days, 20 days, you've forgotten it. But somewhere it is stored into your subconscious mind. Now, this is the iceberg model, where you think you've forgotten, done and dusted, but the subconscious mind has stored it. So after 21 days, if there is some kind of an argument or a difference of opinion in some matter, okay, whatever the matter be, if there is a difference of opinion, the wife is going to get agitated, but she will not always speak it out. she will still keep it suppressed. So if you are understanding, there is a pile up of this resentment, there is a pile up of unhappy emotion. This unhappy emotion builds internal stress. The internal stress eventually goes down to different organs. Now, which organ of yours? So there is a reason why every organ of our body gets affected. So, I mean, if you're talking of, since we are talking on ovaries and ovarian cancer, there is this buildup of resentment, buildup of hate, not liking the thought of being able to create something or communicate something, starts impacting on the glands.
So,
So
how can we use mindfulness to treat physical health? Like we all know that mindfulness of emotions can help in our mental health, but can we use it to manifest good physical health as well, and how?
absolutely. So mindfulness would be in this previous question example which I gave, where you're having an argument over with your husband. So the best approach would be you become mindful. Oh, I am upset. Why am I upset? What am I upset about? So sit, have a conversation. If it is a difference of opinion with your husband, have a heart and heart conversation with him. Communicate out what your feelings are. Have it cleared and sorted out. And this approach of being aware and then speaking, communicating, and finding a solution is something we have to start from day one. मतलब ऐसा नहीं है ना, a baby also takes time to formed out, 9 months period. It takes us 10 years to graduate or pass out from a school, right? So somewhat even with any health condition, this is the case. So stress created ovarian cancer problem, yes. But हमने negative सोच के या angry emotions में आके खुद का damage तो कर लिया. तो उसमें अगर हमने मान लीजिए if we've spent 10 months, 2 months, 2 years, we don't know, like you said, it is diagnosed usually at stage 4, 3 or stage 4, right? So that has been a build-up of so many months. It has been a build-up of so many years. Likewise, if we decide that from today onwards, I want to become mindful of what I speak, how I speak, and most importantly, how I'm reacting internally, that's where the shift will start taking place. So it's like replacing old habits with the new habits. And one of the most important thing I would like to share. I was listening to a talk by one of the acharyas of Ananda Sangha. Ananda Sangha is a spiritual non-profit organization, and it is it was started by Swami Kriyananda, a disciple of Paramhansa Yogananda ji. So in one of the talk, Nayaswami Dhyanaji was mentioning an excerpt from a book, on Swami Kriyananda. So Swami Kriyananda ji, he was going for some complicated dental surgery. So the nurse comes, they have this medical list. If any previous health conditions or any surgeries or things are done. So she asked him, do you have high blood pressure? Yes. Do you have any prosthetic surgery? Yes. Both my hips have been replaced. Do you have any heart surgery? Yes, I have a heart bypass. There is a wall fitted. Do you have diabetes? Yes. Do you have arthritis? Yes. Do you have hearing problem, hearing loss? He said yes. There was a list of questions of surgeries done and health condition, and for everything he said yes, yes, yes. And at the end of it, she asks him, so how do you feel about your health? He says, excellent. So you can imagine it is the attitude that we build or develop towards a situation or our life. And it is this attitude that we have to live with always, whether in health condition or not. So this is how what mindfulness teaches us, that we need to be in the moment and be happy at all times.
Wow, that's beautiful, but that's something very difficult to achieve as well. How can we introduce it in our day-to-day life? Because like it's easier said than done. Like we all know that we should think positive, but how should we implement it in our daily lives?
So we need to remind ourselves every time. You know how we tell the children, a child, that while cycling, just be careful. You shouldn't lose your balance. You have the 2 side wheels for support. So the side wheels for support in your negative thinking are going to be those little positive thoughts. I know it's very irritating to hear that word positive, think positive, speak positive, but we have to keep on telling that to ourselves, because it is only when we teach ourselves will we discipline our thoughts, we'll discipline our mind, right? Like even in case for a child, okay, you learn from your failure. We tell that, right? Failures are our best experiences because they teach us. So, TK, you have to become aligned with the way you're thinking. So, discipline your thoughts, discipline your minds. Every time you go into the pitfall of, negative thoughts or of wrong thoughts, I would say, bring yourself back. 2 कदम आगे 4 कदम पीछे, कोई बात नहीं, पर हम ये करते करते ही is what I was trying to tell. A child falls, gets up, walks, falls, gets up, walks. So it is how the journey is, that we have to keep on being. So 2 P's, patience, perseverance, that helps us.
Great. So how long does it take for anybody who starts following mindfulness to notice a difference?
It depends on that person's consistent, sincere efforts. But like I said, Rome was not built overnight. A child was not born in 2 months. It was a 9-month process, right? So it requires lots of patience, lots of perseverance, lots of positivity, and the progress is yours. So the 4 P's, I call these the 4 P's: patience, positivity, perseverance, and progress. Definitely is yours.
Very true. So like this is about like how can we use mindfulness to prevent stress and to be positive and like prevent diseases. But what after it happens, like if somebody is diagnosed with any kind of chronic disease including ovarian cancer, how can they use mindfulness then?
All the more reason to use mindfulness. So when I say all the more reasons, because it's only when you will reflect backwards will you come to a point and you will ask, first, the body goes in a shock. You yourself go in a shock. Oh my God, I've been diagnosed. The patient would feel I've been diagnosed with an ovarian cancer condition. You once again get into a flight mode and alternating with a fight mode, that why did this happen to me? How did this happen to me? You come into a victim mode. Because of whom did I come into? All these analysis our mind starts to do, right? You've done all this. Ideally, you should be okay. I have reached at this point. So much has happened. Now, what must I do to fix it?
Right.
The damage is done. We can never get back the milk in the glass which has spilled down, right? No
Right.
point brooding over the spilled milk. So, why waste energy? Why waste time? Why even get into those non important thoughts? I would rather say pick up good books, start reading uplifting books, start attending uplifting good sessions. So when I say uplifting books, so books basically which will bring to light, which will connect you with your own self. So one of the series of book is how to series by Paramahansa Yogananda. It talks about how to love and be loved, karma and reincarnations, how to be happy at all times, how to be a success, how to overcome failures. Then books by other renowned authors, like what comes to my mind is Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now. These are very uplifting books. These are very positive, because mind will tend to go down the spiral of negative thoughts. Correct. What we need to do, so when I say, in your previous question also you asked me, how do we get back from to practice mindfulness, how much time it's going to take. So this is how it's possible. 2 steps of mindfulness reading or good reading. 1 step, initially it would be 4 steps of negative thinking. Again, be at it of reading good books or watching good movies or being with people who are more positive, people who are encouraging and enthusiastic, rather than people who are going to be morose. Oh my God, ये क्या हो गया, ऐसे क्यों हुआ, अब आप क्या करोगे, कैसे करोगे, तूने अपना ख्याल नहीं किया. These are not required. What is required
This
is
is what you get most of the time. So this is what happens. As soon as you are diagnosed, everybody around is just talking about it. So even for my mother, what we did was like we actually blocked all the relatives and friends. Like anybody who used to come to our house, we used to tell them, "You're not going to talk to her about cancer. Talk normally. Just make her believe that everything is fine." And that is how it works. Like talking about, because somebody, if somebody is diagnosed with diabetes or anything, we don't keep telling them that you have diabetes, you have diabetes, you have diabetes. But with cancer, what happens is like, if there's so much stigma attached that if somebody is diagnosed, they are told every second minute that they have cancer.
One is the stigma attached. Second is a very bechara kind of an
Exactly.
approach that people come. So that is something the patient gets very repulsed with. The person, patient is a very wrong word, I would say. The person gets repulsed with. Now, this is where mindfulness for a person suffering, for a woman suffering from ovarian cancer would come about is, okay, I got it. Now what next? What must I do? So with that approach, it brings a good shift in even if people are coming and talking about ovarian cancer, oh my god, आपको तो कैंसर हो गया, हाँ हुआ, ठीक है, तो मैं उसकी ट्रीटमेंट कर रही हूँ, ठीक हो. So that is the kind of attitude the person, so like you were giving me the example of your mother, it's wonderful you protected her and guarded her, but like we say, at every point the person has to then hold the reins himself, right? You wouldn't be there always to protect your mother. So it's only on your mother's mindful approach that she would have held herself high and strong, that okay, I got it, I'm fighting it, please, let's not discuss about it. It's with that smile, with that happiness that you do go out, can people stop talking about it in a very critical manner. And other things I would like to just share out here. There are very interesting set of exercises which I had learned at Ananda Sangha. These are called energization exercises. They were showed by Paramahans Yogananda, and they are wonderful. They work at the deep, I would say, cell generation level. You're sending energy, you're sending prana to your every cell in the body, which is regenerating them. Like I mentioned earlier, there is a life cycle of every cell, which is 21 days. After 21 days, the cell starts to reproduce them, correct? So the idea is to send more life force, send more prana. We are breathing, but where is the actual life force and energy coming into our body? It is coming from the life force, energy, or the prana that we call, correct? Now, these set of exercises or certain other super conscious living exercises, which Swami Kriyananda has shared, Paramahansa Yogananda has put out there, they're beautiful, and they have really showed miraculous results. At least to bring that shift into mindfulness, at least to bring that shift into loving and connecting your body. So the body is happy, the body starts healing itself.
Very true. And it also happens like I told you, in my case, it's the caretakers who are being the guards. And because the patient themselves are going through like the initial acceptance of the fact that you've got cancer, it takes a lot of time.
I agree. I completely agree with you.
And then as a caretaker, or as anybody who's like, even if you're trying to make them positive, just telling them be positive and think positive doesn't help. So when somebody is in negative frame of mind, and when somebody is like going through such tough times, because there's a lot of physical pain involved as well with cancer, like when you're going through chemotherapy and all those things. So they have their impact on your body. So at that time, what could be done by the caretakers or the patient themselves to cope with the entire thing?
So there's a very interesting thing. One of my friend's mother-in-law, this goes back probably 25 years from now. Okay, this is that long back. One of my friend's mother-in-law was diagnosed with cancer. I wouldn't want to get into the details of which cancer and what, but the best thing that kept the house atmosphere going, that kept auntie's mood going, was auntie's own mood. Her face had a permanent smile. Her attitude, her aura was nothing but actually love and compassion. Not just for her own self, but for her daughter, son, daughter-in-law, son-in-law, husband, even the caretakers, like you mentioned, even we people who would go, right? So that itself eases out one. Now, if the situation is reversed, where obviously the patient goes through a lot of trouble through the chemotherapy, through the medication, through the treatment, and
Right.
it does drain you down. To keep that energy motivated, to keep that high mood up in there, I would say always have in the house good vibrations, good music, okay, and healthy conversations. Not to say, oh, मम्मी को ऐसे हुआ था, वो फिक्र होने वाली है, डर भी होने वाला है, but the most important thing is to always have good divine music playing in your house, have the practice of meditation, have the practice of yoga, because yoga, like I said in the beginning, it's not just a physical body movement. You're working the mind with the body and with your soul, so you're detoxifying and you're throwing out a lot of negative hormones, okay, and you're giving a surge to the adrenaline or the positive hormones or the happy hormones, which again bring us to, with fill us with more energy, with more so with energy, prana. So there are two types of energy: food energy and prana, life force energy. Now life force energy is the energy which actually gives us more enthusiasm, which gives us more positivity, and it always keeps us motivated. So always remember, Megha, I would like to say, whenever we are happy, we are going to be motivated. Whenever we are going to be worried and fearful, that again comes in the negative thought pattern, is when we'll start going down. So the very fact everybody says be positive, stay positive, सब चंगा होना है, सब अच्छा होना है. The idea is, भैया तुम योगा करो, तुम प्राणायाम कर लो, तुम्हारे ऑटोमेटिकली जो डिटॉक्सिफाई करने हैं नेगेटिव एनर्जी या hormones निकल जाएंगे, and the positive hormones, the adrenaline, is going to give you more energy to be positive and stay motivated.
Very true.
I hope that helps and answers your question.
Yes, it does. Talking about the current times, we're all going through tough phase because of the COVID. Like, there's so many people, like almost all the families are affected because of it. What is one change that you think everyone needs to make in their life to cope with these challenging COVID times?
I would say two things, if you allow me to. One would be a lot of compassion, loving. What has happened is we've forgotten to be compassionate and loving to our own self and others, because the big balloon is of the virus, and we've all become fearful and insecure with that what is the future going to be? Oh my, we are one after the other going down, we are going ill, what is happening at the nation level? So to put in crisp format, I would say be more compassionate, be more loving. Fear and negativity will automatically go. So think of the positives, the negatives will themselves go.
That's such a beautiful message to include it with. Thank you so much, Preeti, for this enlightening session. I'm sure all our listeners must have got great lessons today, and it'll help them in manifesting good health in their lives. I hope that all the atrocities around end and the world heals soon. Till then, stay at home, take precautions, be aware, and stay sashakt. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on board. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you so